So this is just a wee video following the Black Friday sales. I picked up a couple of goodies that I've been looking at for a while. They've been on the StuMac, so it's a place where you can buy lots of guitar tools, bits and pieces to do fret work. I think they sell guitar components as well. So I bought myself a couple of things I had my eyes on. In fact, one thing I had my eye on, but it came as part of a deal, so you got a couple of other bits with it also. So what this is called is a fret kisser. So basically it's got two smooth surfaces, and then in the middle it's got like a sort of diamond file, and it's similar format to the old sort of fret rocker thing. So the idea is, I've not taken the plastic off this yet. Not actually going to use it just now as well, but just to show you the purpose of the thing. So smaller side help you do the top edges. So what you would normally do is use your fret rocker. If you feel it rocking back and forwards, it means you have a high fret, and then this will let you use the other two frets to basically file each fret where necessary. So I had my eye on this for quite a while, rather than using all sorts of different files. Normally it works out about 50 to 70 pounds in our money over here, which is quite a lot for, you know, a tool. But there's no alternative. You know, you can't buy one of these from China, or at least I've never seen a sort of cheapy version, and I don't fancy making my own one. But I thought it looked quite cool, just the price was a bit prohibitive. I'll let you know how I get on when I'm using the thing. But during the Black Friday sale, they were selling these for, I think it was like 20 or 30 pounds each. So a significant discount, but then they had like a sort of tool discount where you could get the fret rocker and also like a little measuring tool. So I got the metric one, just because millimeters make a bit more sense to me than inches, but they do like an imperial version also. So I think that's quite a cool thing for when I'm doing setups in the house. So altogether, I think the set was like 70 quid. So yeah, they still profited, but I've got a couple of goodies as well as, you know, the thing I was really after. So I'm looking forward to using them. And initially, the plan is to set up the Sunburst guitar. The purpose of this video is not really to talk about fret rockers or StuMac or even Black Friday sales, but it's just to do a little bit talking about this guitar here. This was my old number one until I got the red American Vintage Strat. So this thing's been around for a long time, and I'd just like to do a little video talking about it. Then the plan is to do some fretwork on the neck. I'll do that after this video. And then once I've set up the red Strat with a new set of strings, might do like a little bit of a shootout between these two guitars. They're both, the American Vintage is a 1961 reissue, whereas this comes out of Mexico. But this is our 60s Strat. 60s, but with some twists, but we'll talk about that during this video. So I got this guitar in 2008, I think. I'll check the serial when we're having a look and we'll figure out how old it is, but this was a purchase when I got my first job after I'd left school, and I had, at the time, a standard Mexican Strat. It was an Olympic white with a rosewood board. That was a really good guitar as well. But I was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan at the time, and there was, you know, the thing about the 60s Sunburst Strats with the tinted necks, you know, and all those features and sounds just made me want one of these. So this was the closest I was going to get at the time, and I was thrilled to own it. I remember getting the guitar and leaving the guitar shop and, you know, sneaking a look inside the gig bag, just because I couldn't really believe that I'd got it. It was that good at the time. Yeah, and this has been with me ever since, so it's a bit battered just now. You know, and it's certainly a unique one, but I needed the upgrade to the American Vintage. I think that's made a big difference. Not that I couldn't do anything with this guitar that I could do on that one, it's just, you know, the quality is at another level, and, you know, some of the vintage specs were just that bit more attention to detail. So looking at the guitar, you know, what is this series? So I said it came out in Mexico. These were the classic player Strats. So at the time, maybe a couple of years before these came out, Mexico were doing like the standard Mexican Strat, and then they were doing classic reissues. And I think they done like a 50s, 60s, 70s. And they were more sort of faithful to the original Fenders. Whereas what happened with these guitars was that they sent a few guys from the custom shop in California, they sent them down to Mexico to work with some of the builders there and design some guitars that the Mexicans could assemble and build, really. So this is the 60s version. They done a Classic Players 50s guitar as well. That was designed by another guy, but I think it was a guy called Greg Fessler who designed the 60s model. So yeah, we'll take a look at some of the things that are not standard vintage Fender spec. So they put a 2-point bridge on this. So this was like the first time I think the 2-point bridge ever came out of Mexico. So instead of like the 6 screw holes here, you've just got the 2, similar to what the player Strats have nowadays. In fact, it's probably the same thing. So yeah, they put that on for the first time. Also on this guitar, the fingerboard is a 12-inch radius, so flatter than you would normally get on a Strat. And it also has medium jumbo frets, so it's nice to play on. The pickups on these guitars, we'll have a look at them when I take the scratch plate off, but the pickups are, they call them custom 69 pickups. I don't think they wanted to call them custom shop at the time. So yeah, I think they're quite sought after. The first versions of these were wound by a lady called Abigail, and they have like her signature on the underside, and yeah, people rave about those, but you know, this one doesn't have her name on them, but you know, it sounds great anyway. So yeah, we'll just have a wee look. Other interesting thing is that on the neck plate, they've actually put Fender custom shop or custom designed, which is interesting, nice to have something different. Yeah, and I put my name on it in the past. Just going to take the strings off now, and we'll get a wee look inside under the scratch plate. So this guitar is still 99% original. I changed the selector switch, that got a bit crackly. But aside from that, it's the same as it came out the factory. As I say, there's some chips all over the place on the guitar, but it doesn't stop you playing it. So once the strings are off, I'll take the neck off the guitar as well, and we'll have a little look at the pocket and the internals. And that's the strings off. So I'm just going to take the neck off the guitar. using the smallest screwdriver in the world. An interesting thing comparing this one to the American Vintage Strat is that the neck pocket screws on this guitar seem to stay in place where they are in the body, just even after they've come off the neck. I'll show you that when I take it apart in a later video. Whereas these screws on the Mexican also stay where they are, you know, even if you're pushing them down. So the hole's not got as much give. So yeah, not much to see. It's not like an oldie vintage one, you know, stickers are still on the neck. Some guy scribbled in it. And not really much information there. You know, still a thick, nice bit of rosewood on the neck. Yeah, another reason I was getting tired of this guitar is the finish was chipping away along the neck. As I say, I had this one for a very long time. Played it, you know, live quite a bit in the house. It's lay around, it's got knocked about. And then this stuff, you know, just when you're sweating on it and playing it, starts to go bubbly and then just starts to peel off. Yeah, so might refinish that at some point, might leave it as is. But yeah, it's a nice neck, really nice playing guitar. It's just the frets. These medium jumbo frets are some of the flattest frets you can get anyway. And then these ones are quite worn down. So I'm going to see if I can get the board level and get it playing nice enough. But yeah, it's really going to take sort of second place to the Red Strat these days. Differences from vintage go back to that. The decal is underneath the finish. You know, it's a poly finish on this one also. So a lot more durable, but you know, that's that. Still got the sort of vintage tuners. As I said, the neck profile's not vintage. It's a lot flatter than the 61 reissue that I've got. Flatter, but you know, it's not like it's any harder to play on a rounder board. Still 21 frets on here. Just moving over to the body, trying not to scratch the table as I do this. Especially, in fact, I'll get those screws all the way out, make it a bit easier to handle. One interesting thing as well, comparing this one to the American Vintage guitar, is the tremolo block, which I'll talk about a wee bit. As I said there, what's that say? Custom shop designed. Nice. Marks it out as being a bit different. So yeah, you know, when I used to hear about like people saying the Van Halen one was recorded just using a before he put a Floyd Rose on the guitar, and I used to think, how the hell could he get all those dive bombs and stuff? I mean, I used to always have this tremolo decked, and then you know you dip the thing all the way down, and you know the arm's a bit bent on this one, so it's probably the pickup stops it. You can probably get all the way to the body, but compared to the block, the steel block on the American Vintage, I mean this isn't a steel block on here, but the one on the American Vintage is probably, you know, just about half as thick as this one. So you can get a lot more range on the tremolo, I find. It seems to dip a lot lower when you do all the dive bomb type stuff. But yeah, I'll get the scratch plate off now. So all these screws are quite badly corroded, and they've been on and off the guitar so much that, you know, the screw holes are a bit iffy. These are all rusted as well. But yeah, had to change the selector switch on this. I've had the volume and tone pots just over the years have picked up crap and had to be cleaned out. And then pickups wise, over the years you go tone chasing, and I tried humbuckers, I've tried the highest output single coils I could get, deluxe drive pickups. They were on the Highway 1 series guitars, but you can buy them from Fender, and they're sort of named as the highest output traditional single coil pickup, and they were about 12k ohm when you measure them, so they are really high output, but they didn't give me that sound I was wanting. Now I've kind of went back to vintage pickups, and just, you know, gain staging and all that to get the sound you're after. I'm a lot happier with the vintage pickups. So yeah, I shielded this myself, same as shielded the little cavity in here, and then you've got to connect them with a wire. I don't know if it makes much difference. The American vintage, I've not bothered shielding the body cavities, but the scratch plate has like an aluminium, or not an aluminium, maybe it is aluminium actually, the old guard on it, so you don't really need to bother about that. Just moving things around here. So yeah, cloth wire on these pickups. They're really nice sounding pickups, and you know, I'll never get rid of this guitar for sentimental reasons. It's been around forever, you know, grown up with me. But yeah, sort of done a messy solder job on that a long time ago. And there's not much more to say about this one. Like I said about humbuckers, you know, you want to put humbuckers in one of these, you know, you're going to have a problem in the bridge unless you want to route out this space. It's not like a, you know, modern one where they've got the swimming pool in here. So yeah, that's one thing to consider, but you can't really buy these guitars anymore, so yeah, it's a vintage, well, you know, 15, 20-year-old guitar. But yeah, it's still got life in it, and as I say, I'm going to do some fret work on this guitar, and I'm going to get it strung up, and then we'll see how it fares against the red one in a future video. But for now I'm going to leave it at that.